get hectic.
So, the Donald has proposed his tax cuts, which is one of the biggest tax cuts in American history. The problem is that our economy is not doing so great right now. And with these massive tax cuts, there's no way the economic growth can make up the difference for these cuts. In other words, the government or the Federal Reserve will have to print a large amount of money in order to pay for all of the government expenses that are no longer going to be paid for because they will no longer take the tax revenue from the private sector. And when the Federal Reserve has to print all this money, you will see an increase in consumer prices. And remember, the government has $20 trillion in debt, and if interest rates continue to go up, it will cost a larger amount of money to pay the existing debt. On the upside, there might be a hidden treasure within these tax cuts. This might motivate the government to actually stop spending, which is something we should all want and pray for. Another thing that's going to happen with these tax cuts is that homeowners will no longer deduct the real estate taxes from the federal income tax, so homeowners will feel the full force of taxes. Last thing I want to say is remember that the government costs what it spends. So if we are going to have a big government or a bigger government, we are somehow, some way, we're going to have to spend all kinds of money for it. So I say, let's cut the government so we can stop all these spending and don't be deceived by these phonies and jokesters. Just do your own research. There's a lot more to these taxes. So just do your own research, and there's a lot of opportunities going here. There's ups and downs, as with everything, but there's a lot of opportunities that are gonna come with these tax cuts, and we'll see what happens.
The president is going to seize this opportunity by leading the most significant tax reform legislation since 1986 and one of the biggest tax cuts in the American history. The president has focused on three things since his campaign: job creation, economic growth, and helping the low and middle income families who have been left behind by this economy. He understands there are a lot of people in this country that feel like they work hard and they just cannot get ahead. They are sick of turning their paychecks over to Washington and having no idea of how those dollars are spent. They are frustrated by a tax code that is so complicated they can't even do their own taxes. That's why tax reform is such a big priority to this president. He cares about making the economy work better for all American people. We are going to cut taxes for businesses to make them competitive, and we're going to cut taxes for the American people, especially low and middle income families. Today, I'm going to outline the principles we have put in place for personal tax reform, and then I'm going to hand it over to Secretary Mnuchin to talk about the business side. First, here are a few statistics for you on the individual side. In 1935, we had a one-page tax form consisting of 34 lines with 2 pages of instructions. Today, the basic 1040 form has 79 lines and 211 pages of instructions. Instead of a single form, the IRS now has 199 tax forms on the individual side of our tax code. Taxpayers spend nearly 7 billion hours complying with these tax codes every year, and nearly 90% of taxpayers need some help in filing their taxes. We are going to cut taxes and simplify the tax code by taking the current 7 tax brackets we have today and reducing them to only 3 brackets: a 10% bracket, a 25% bracket, and a 35% bracket. We're going to double the standard deduction. so that a married couple won't pay any taxes on the first $24,000 of income they earn. So in essence, we are creating a zero tax rate. Yes, a zero tax rate for the first $24,000 that a couple earns. The larger standard deduction also leads to simplification because far fewer taxpayers will need to itemize, which means their tax form can go back, yes, to that one simple page that I talked about earlier. Families in this country will also benefit from tax relief to help them with child and dependent care expenses. We are going to repeal the alternative minimum tax. The AMT creates significant complications and burdens which require taxpayers to do their taxes twice to see which is higher. That makes no sense, and we should have one simple tax code. As we all know, job creation and economic growth is the top priority of the administration. Nothing drives economic growth like capital investment. Therefore, we are going to return the top capital gains tax rate and dividend rate to 20%, repealing the harmful 3.8% Obamacare tax on dividends and capital gains. That tax has been a direct hit on investment income and small business owners. We're going to repeal the death tax. The threat of being hit by the death tax leads small business owners and farmers in this country to waste countless hours and resources on complicated estate planning to make sure their children aren't hit with a huge tax when they die. No one wants to see their children have to sell the family business to pay an unfair tax. We are going to eliminate most of the tax breaks that are mainly benefits to high-income individuals. Home ownership, charitable giving, and retirement savings will be protected, but other tax benefits will be eliminated.
If you have any other questions, you can always contact me at scene.life/thecurrency.